All right, let's dive in today. And, well, it's a bit of a heavy one, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
We're talking about, well, the unthinkable, really.
Mhm.
What happens if the U.S. launches a nuclear attack?
It's a chilling scenario, for sure.
We're basing this deep dive on an article, let me see. It's called What If USA Launched a Nuclear Bomb, Minute by Minute.
Yeah, I read that one. Pretty intense stuff.
Yeah, it is. And look, we're not here to, glorify war or anything like that. It's more about understanding.
Right, like what could actually happen?
Exactly. The chain of events, the technology, but also the gravity of, a decision like that.
It's about those human choices at the heart of it all. Choices with unimaginable consequences, really.
Absolutely. So let's paint a picture here, set the stage.
Nah.
Imagine, the tension between Russia and the West. It's already pretty high, but let's say it escalates even further.
Beyond what we're seeing with Ukraine.
Way beyond. Our source talks about, like, Russian nuclear weapons being detected moving closer and closer to Europe.
Yeah.
Satellite imagery even shows, those mobile launchers with Topol ballistic missiles right there near the Ukrainian border.
And it's not just Russia in this scenario, right?
Yeah.
We're also talking China blockading Taiwan, North Korea mobilized.
But it's like the whole world's on edge, a powder keg.
Yeah, one spark and it all goes up.
And the U.S., they're not just sitting back, of course.
Oh, they're definitely reacting.
The article mentions Ohio-class submarines, they're being deployed closer to Russia.
Mm-hmm.
And B-2 stealth bombers, they're on high alert, loaded with, both conventional and nuclear payloads.
It's that rapid escalation that's so scary. Within a week, a regional conflict turns into, well, a global crisis.
With unimaginable stakes.
Exactly. It shows how interconnected everything is. Like one regional conflict can quickly engulf the whole world.
It's a sobering thought for sure, and then it gets even worse.
That happens.
Russia, in this scenario, launches a nuclear missile westward.
Oh, man.
It's like that moment in a horror movie, you know something bad is coming, but you just can't look away.
And nobody knows where it's headed at first, right?
Right. Is it a NATO ally? Is it just a show of force? That uncertainty, it just adds to the tension.
The fear, the pressure.
And then the unthinkable, the missile hits Kiev. It was carrying decoys to confuse defenses.
Millions of lives gone, just like that.
It's a stark reminder of just how devastating these weapons are.
Even a limited strike like this would have global consequences. The fallout, the disruption, this psychological impact, it's a catastrophe.
A nightmare. And now the U.S. is faced with this impossible choice.
Retaliate or show restraint.
The weight of that decision. I mean, the fate of the world, literally.
The article talks about the nuclear football, that briefcase, for authorizing a nuclear strike.
Yeah, it's almost surreal to think about.
Meanwhile, NATO is holding emergency meetings, condemning Russia, but also trying to figure out a response.
A response, but what can you even do at that point?
It's the dilemma. A nuclear attack, even in retaliation, it would have massive geopolitical consequences.
Like what?
Fractured alliances, anti-American sentiment, maybe even a power vacuum that someone else could exploit.
So it's a choice between two terrible options, basically.
Yeah, and in this scenario, the U.S. decides to retaliate.
But they're not just blindly attacking, right?
No, the article says the targets are Russian military installations.
Specifically to cripple their nuclear capabilities.
A calculated move trying to minimize civilian casualties, but still, the destruction would be horrific.
It really brings home the reality of nuclear war. It's not some action movie.
Right. It's real people making impossible choices under unimaginable pressure.
And it all happens so fast.
The article outlines the launch sequence. It's methodical, almost chillingly efficient.
So the order's given, what happens then?
The U.S. unleashes the nuclear triad.
Minuteman III ICBMs, those are launched from silos, right?
Yeah, and Ohio-class submarines, they surface briefly to fire their missiles.
And B-2 bombers, they deliver their payloads as well.
Minuteman's range is incredible. Nowhere in Russia is safe. It puts immense pressure on their leadership, their military.
It's a show of force, but it's not just about brute force, right?
No, there's strategy involved. The scenario includes NATO attacks on Russian forces at the same time.
A distraction.
Exactly, to prevent Russia from detecting and intercepting the U.S. missiles.
But wouldn't that risk escalating things even further?
It's a calculated risk,